good morning. Good evening, esteemed participants. My name is Alem Tasfai. I'm the Knowledge and Learning Coordinator for the Women, Coffee and Climate Desira project, which is being supported by the Spanish Corporation with funding from the European Union. A very warm welcome to all of you to the 6th EthioLatinCoffee Community of Practice webinar on the role of women in coffee management and commercialization. We are truly delighted to have you all join us today for what promises to be a thought-provoking and insightful session. At the outset, let me extend our gratitude to each and every one of you for your presence here. Your commitment to the coffee sector, women's empowerment, and sustainable development is commendable, and it is this collective dedication that makes forums like today's possible. As we navigate the challenges and opportunities presented by climate change in the coffee industry, it becomes increasingly evident that we must harness the potential of every stakeholder, particularly women, who play a pivotal role in coffee management and commercialization. The theme of today's webinar is both timely and critical. It's not just about acknowledging the role of women, but understanding and amplifying it. It's about recognizing the inherent strengths and skills that women bring to the coffee sector, and exploring how their empowerment contributes not only to economic growth, but also to the resilience of our coffee value chain in the face of climate uncertainties. Throughout today's sessions, we'll hear from experts, practitioners, and thought leaders who will share their insights, experiences, and innovative approaches. From enhancing women's skills and knowledge in coffee management, to their entrepreneurship and contribution to coffee commercialization, to the policies and interventions that can foster an enabling environment. Our agenda is comprehensive, and I'm confident it will leave us all inspired and better informed. Let's remember that this webinar isn't just about discussions. It's about generating ideas, spurring collaboration, and collectively finding solutions. We are here not just as passive listeners, but as active participants in shaping the future of the coffee industry. So if you have any comments, questions, please use the facilities of Zoom to ask you questions or your comments. So feel free to engage, ask questions, and share experiences. Your voices matter, and your contributions are invaluable. Once again, a warm welcome to you all. Let's use this platform to not only learn, but to inspire, connect, and drive positive change. Without further ado, I now invite so much. So let me introduce you. So we have the keynote speaker, Dr. Kasai Tolosa, who is a national technical coffee expert from the United Nations Industrial Development Organization. She'll give us a keynote address on her insights on the importance of women's roles in coffee management and commercialization and their contribution to the coffee sector. And we're very glad that we have her in this webinar. Dr. Kasai, over to you. Okay. I think you can share now.
Now is it okay?
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much. I'm very glad to be here, and then thank you again for giving me this chance. So as you have already introduced, so I can just directly go to my presentation. Just I will give you an highlight like on the role of women in coffee sector. Professionally, I'm like a coffee science expert. So let's see how can we see women in that coffee sector. So this is my presentation. I will give you an overview of women in agricultural sector in general, and then coffee sector, what the gender gap looks like in the coffee sector, and then what was some initiatives, and then some success stories, and finally the way forward. So when we look at the role of women in agricultural sector. As you know, agriculture is a key sector to Ethiopian economy, where our GDP, 32% of our GDP is from agricultural sector, where 72% of our employment. And then our export earning is also come from agriculture, around 77%. And again, 70% of our food production is from agriculture. Of this, women take like 45% of the agricultural labor forces. Again, when we look at the women in coffee lands, so coffee is a very important key commodity for our export earning, which provide livelihood for 50 millions. Of these, women really contribute a great role in the coffee sector across the whole value chain. Women act as farmers, labor force, and also they are also entrepreneurs. When we look at some research results, shows that 90% of coffee producing households are headed by women. So this is also a very good thing. And then of this, 75% of our production level in Ethiopian coffee value chain, especially for harvesting, washing, so roasting, the brewing, every aspect of this activity is done by women, which account about 75% of the production level is come from the women. Here you can see in every aspect, the harvesting, sorting, every aspect of the value chain is managed by our women. Since they are very fast, they are very careful, so they are doing things in a very perfect way. So the majority of the coffee sector is managed by the woman, as you can see. Here also some research results. As you see, the majority of the labor-intensive activity is managed by women. You can see the seedling preparation, the weeding, the harvesting, the cleaning, the drying, even the hulling, the grading, and the sorting is mainly managed by women. And then very specifically, when you come to the sale, the revenue which is come from the coffee is mainly dominated by the men as compared to the female. So here you can see a gender gap, gender inequality you can see. So which means that our women, they're mainly involved on less paid activity, but they are very, very intensive activities. So here we can see still there is a gender gap, and across the coffee value chain where women took a large share of that. So, in spite of their hard work, dedication spent in coffee value chain, the majority of the income from the coffee sector and the other decision power is managed by men. So women are less income from the coffee sale, even though they are working hard and spending a lot of time on that activity, very low. So again, as the recent research showed that women have a limited access to resources and the decision power in the coffee sector. So that is why they are getting less income from the coffee. So it is not only like they involve on the labor-intensive activity across the value chain. We have also coffee trade and the supply chain, but still their production to the final. So the control over resource. And again, also they have like a limited access to some improved technologies. seedling and other inputs, and also they don't have like an access for some extension services and training. We have also a cultural norms that restrict women's access to necessary input. So these all challenges makes women unbenefited or disadvantages to get a benefit from the coffee sector, where they are giving a lot of support for the entire coffee value chain. So this all has an impact on social and economic outcomes for the women as well as the household and in general in the country, I mean for the country. So these all challenges, it causes reduction in productivity and the quality of coffee, and they also reduce the income from coffee sale for the women. And then when we see in percentage, the revenue of women from the selling coffee is around 39%, lower than the men. So still we can see a gender gap. When we see the gender gap in access to land, here you can see different coffee producing countries like Uganda, Colombia, Ethiopia is here, and Tanzania is here. You can see Ethiopia is less as compared to the others. The farm size for female is less by 50% as compared to the male, but for the other country it is better, even like less than 25%. So in Ethiopia, still access to land is also dominated by men. So in general, when we look at the gender equality, can affect also the human development report. So here, when gender equality inequality is increased, the human development is actually has an impact on social and economic outcomes. For this is for coffee producing countries. The data is collected from coffee producing countries. So this gender gap also affecting indirectly the Human Development Index, which is actually affect the growth and the development of that country. So promoting gender equality in coffee, like improving access to resource, education, and training would improve coffee productivity and the quality, because majority of the activity is managed by women. So if we can increase their access to resource, education, and training, we will have an improvement in coffee export for the country, and leads to the greater economic return for the women's friendly practice coffee industry, agriculture for coffee industry. So integrating gender equality into sustainable agricultural policy, the Ethiopian change and the environmental degradation. Equality, we are not only promoting, or we are not only empowering women, we are also improving the production, the productivity, and the export share of the coffee sector. So here I will give you some good practices from another country. Here you can see from Indonesia increased more than 100% of their coffee training for both female and male farmers on cultivation, processing, and marketing. So here training, they gave training at a convenient time for women, which is close to their home, to limit a travel. So they increase the participation of women in the training, and then finally they got a very increased coffee supply chain by promoting, by empowering women in the training. So this is one intervention, the good practices from Indonesia. The other intervention, the increased income for coffee smallholders by increasing the participation of women in the workshop on gender relations, especially decision making, joint management, asset, and the income. So this intervention also increased the income for coffee smallholders, which means it increased production, productivity, and the quality, and the export share, and the impact brings increase in the coffee and the income for the smallholder farmers, especially the women. So empowering women in coffee sector increased market share and it reduces a lot of costs. So empowering women in the coffee sector can also help to reduce a lot of costs. So what has initiatives from our government to empower women in Ethiopian coffee value chain? We have policies like policy on women. There is also a gender equality in growth and the national plan. There is also a land ownership. Again, the establishment of Ethiopian Women in Coffee Association. This is also one initiative which really will help a lot. And then the gender mainstreaming strategy, which is recently developed in coffee sector by Ethiopian Coffee and the theater. This is some of initiatives from our government side. And then still there are a lot of work to be done, but there is a very good start where we can capitalize and where we can strengthen this just to support women. So this all initiative actually planned to increase access to land and the credit, access to information technologies, extension service, and the decision-making processes. So all initiative actually focused on this issue, which is actually helpful. So there are also some development agencies actually who has been working to empower women in coffee sector, like Techno Service, Oxfam Coffee Climate Care Project, Feed in the Future. Still, I know there is Spanish corporation now. They are also working with Coffee and Data Authority on supporting some gender issues. So these are just a few I will bring for the time interest. So there are a lot of initiatives in Ethiopia supporting coffee. We have also some success in a coffee enterprise, especially there are initiatives on women's coffee cooperative in Sidama. Actually, this aim is to improve access to market and promote their role in coffee trade. This is one thing. The other, there is Metu Bashari Forest Coffee Farmer Association. Actually, this is providing access to resource to women. So this is also another. There is Okolomi Coffee. Actually, they have an exclusive strategy in employing women and disabled individuals and their workforce. So this is another. We have also just put few entrepreneurs like Cacao Trading PLC, which is led by Aisha, and the coffee roaster from Sarah. So this is just the best example which we need to promote them, and then they will be very exemplary for another woman in coffee sector. So as way forward, so in spite of some progress in reducing gender gap, but still there is a need, like a multidisciplinary effort to address the challenges. For instance, we need to strengthen the gender responsive policy and the initiative within the coffee sector. We have like a number of policies and initiatives, but we need to strengthen them. Here, development agencies and the donors can contribute a lot here by strengthening the policies and in a way of benefiting our women. Again, promoting women leadership also really help a lot. So we need to promote women into the leadership, especially in the coffee sector, so they can help a lot. Again, it is also necessary to provide a greater access to market information, training, resource, and extension service, and that can improve their management practices. They can improve the coffee productivity activity and the quality, and then they can improve their export share. So this is also important. It's also necessary to introduce labor-saving technologies for coffee, especially in the washing station and the sorting aspect. So we need to think just to reduce the time they are spending on those activities. So it is better also to think introduction of labor-saving technologies. It is also very critical to promote women's participation in international events, especially for entrepreneurs, because this really help to access a new market and also help them in creating a network from business to business, business to government. So there is very limited what they have. So we need to help them in creating networking. So this all things has to be done. Another issue is creating an enabling environment for gender equality in Ethiopian coffee sector is also very critical. It is very critical. It is not only like setting an initiative and the policy is not very enough. So we need to really work on the implementation aspect, just implementation aspect. So it needs an intervention. So, and then it is also very important to strengthen the established women in coffee, the association, what we have, we need to help them, different development agencies, donors from the government side. So it is very important to help them, and then they can really directly involve in supporting other women who are a member of the association. Again, they can increase also the number of associations, and they can create a lot of network. So finally, coffee sector is a budget demanding industry to buy coffee, especially where wet mills, roasting machine, and other equipment. These all are a budget demanding. So lack of finance access for investment is a major problem affecting Ethiopian coffee value chain development, particularly for women. So providing short and or long-term loans at a very low interest rate for women entrepreneurs to support their coffee business is very critical. Here, for an example, the project established by UNIDO, actually, which is funded by Italian corporation to increase impact of investment for Ethiopian coffee industry is a typical example to support women. Here you can see this project is actually giving a credit line by very low interest rate for different
Hello, Dr. Kasai. You are breaking.
For growth.
Okay, continue, please.
The project we can give a more attention. Yes. Project, the gender aspect is given a very, very good attention, where we look at the involvement of women just to give the loan for, especially for women. So this project can be a very good example. So the other donor also, the other development agents also can take on establishing such kind of final access in supporting women in the coffee sector. So during the assessment of the proposal, the investment proposal, so the environment, the social, and the gender aspect is critically reviewed, where we can give a chance for a women who are involved in the whole value chain. So this is what I have. Thank you very much for your attention. So you're welcome for any discussion. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Kasai. Thank you. Thank you so much for your comprehensive, informative, and of course, insightful keynote address. You have covered a lot of stuff in your presentation, and you have set actually the stage very well for the rest of the panel discussions and the other sessions that we have. Thank you so much for that. I now go to Javier Hoyos, Executive Director of EthioLatinCoffee, Colombia, to give us his presentation. Over to you, Javier.
Buenos días, Celia,
Good
Alemu y todo el
morning,
equipo que
Alemu
nos
and the whole
acompaña.
team.
Me gusta
Good morning to everyone. This presentation, it is the outcome of an effort done with the support of the Spanish Corporation. This effort was done together with the AMUC, Women Association, and Tecnicafe. Tecnicafe was supporting, as well as the Spanish Corporation, the Colombian Corporation. This project allowed to build capacities for women in this AMUC association so that they could learn and understand better the coffee process. They found a way to get a better income and a better quality of life. I'd like to make an introduction, an overview of this project. This project results from the intervention done with AMUC, with Women in Coffee, the Association of Women in Coffee of the Cauca region. This project started in 2018 until 2022, and now they are in the second phase. We have seen a huge development during these phases, and I would like to share with you the outcomes of this project. I will need to clarify that in 2018, the Women in Coffee Association from Cauca were women linked with other women that were partner in this group. They will sell the coffees to the cooperative, and they were all certified on fair trade. This certification, it's a conventional, normal certification. This is where this group of women are located. They are located in the Cauca region, in this area, within the region. This area enables them to be located in an area, in an environment area that is very similar to the Ethiopian coffee area. This Ethiopian coffee area, central coffee area, has also a soil characteristic that enables a very important development in the coffee sector. Today, this association has 487. We went from a bit more than 100 to 487. Those are the areas that are divided in different localities. This is the northern area. Then we have the Popayan region in the center, Tambo, and then the south region in La Sierra, La Vega. How are these women classified? We have classified in four types. This T3 were the original members of the association. Today they are formal members of the association and they comply with all the characteristics. The T2 advance, this group of women are undertaking their certification and they are progressing in the improvement, enhancement process of productivity. They are improving all their productivity system. T2 and T1 are in a process of ongoing improvement. T1 is 46% of the total amount. These members are in a phase of getting linked to the association, not only as a members, but also as a way of getting their farms active. Some of them will have the farms, but they were not producing coffee. Some of them were producing coffee before, but had abandoned the business, and now they want to resume it and improve it. They have overcome the first phase, and they are improving to get to the second phase. We have classified this group of women in this way. This is the amount, the percentage of land of coffee that they own. The T3, those are the most important ones because they account for 42% of the land. The total amount, 627 coffee hectares are available in this moment for the association producers. This is very important, the varieties. It's very important to recognize that we're working with a variety type that is designed to have a high quality with less effort. Those varieties are Castillo and Colombia. There are other varieties being used from Arabica that are from high quality, but that are also subject to pest. We can see here a comparison on how they started and where are they today. This is the before the project and after the project. Before the project, only 33% had fermentation tanks. Today, 79% have fermentation tanks. Before, the 56% had depulping machines. Now 87% have this technology. Before, 36% had only the hopper to get the coffee, the dry hopper to receive the coffee before the depulping process. Today, 62% of them have this technology already. If we talk about the drying process, before the project, 43% had a parabolic dryer. Now 92% has it. Before, 13% were using the Casa Elba process. Today, 5%. This drying system is used on top of the roof of the house. What they did, they went to the parabolic system because it's less risky and it entails less technology, but they still improve their house roof. Before we had 9.5% of people having their coffee in their courtyard or patio. Only 9% have their coffee in their patio or courtyard. Before, 6.6% will use a mechanic silo. Now we have more women using the system. Before we had 154. We saw an increase in women, but a decrease on the percentage. Talking about the post-harvesting kit, before 39.7 had this kit. Now 53 has it. This is an equipment that we deliver to women that they can use during from the first stage up to the trading, that they can use to improve their technology. They have improved the quality of their coffee thanks to this post-harvesting kit. With all this project, we have increased the yield production. We went from selling 20,875 bags in 2018 to sell 30,000, over 30,000 in 2021. They have increased the quality and the productivity. In 2019, they have less production because we needed to really invest in improving their technology. This was for T3 women. For T1 and T2, in 2019, they sell from 342, we went to 20,481 in 2021. Regarding income by producer, as you can see, in 2018, the incomes for the women producers, the ones more advanced from the type 3, they have increased their value, and today they have a per capita income way higher than before. This has allowed them to improve their quality of life. Within this project, we gave materials, inputs, and equipments to improve their processing process, like depulping machines. We gave them fertilizers, depulping machines. When we talk about the lever, we didn't give it for free. We created a revolving fund in order to give this materials. So we cover their needs, but it wasn't for free. We will just deliver to them and they pay this equipment back with this revolving funds at a very low interest rate. Maybe the interest rate was 18 for if the normal interest rate was 18 at the bank, we had a 6% interest rate. It was very low. We gave them conventional fertilizers. We also gave them coffee material, like seedlings, pellets, nursery seeds. We provide this in different areas where our projects are located. We give this to localities with a higher number of women. We gave them the raw material so that they can use it. This is a very important activity that we achieve with this project with women. First of all, we created farm fields schools with 620 women. And outside of these schools, we had an activity of knowledge transfers through different associations that supported these projects in order to create capacity building. In this group, 3 women were Q grader certified, 4 women Q process certified by the Quality Institute. 32 women got certified in the roasting exercise, 26 for coffee brewing, 35 women were certified or trained on physical and sensorial analysis, and 28 women developed skills related to coffee byproducts management. This outcome allowed that every women had an increase in their skills and competences that improve their capacity as producers. Here you can see the photos of all the interventions, all the activities of the projects, the delivery of materials, monitoring and supervision. Also, we created a process of social and organizational strengthening. We identified the weakness, the organizational weakness through workshops. And in these workshops, we created a democratic capacity building so that we achieve different important skills. When we designed the line base, we realized that AMUC didn't have a big team. It had a reduced team to manage the enterprise. They didn't have a lot of decision-making persons dedicated to decision making. At the end of the project, the AMUC really increased. At least they have 2 people managing the decision-making process. But what was the most important intervention? We work 4 areas: gender perspective, we work on the generational integration and renewal, change management, and we develop personal and partnership skills. Here in the gender perspective area, we make effort we gave really focus to the gender-based violence. We work in a map road on gender-based violence. And we work on socialization and empowerment with a gender focus, because this will allow women to create a respect and leadership strategy. Regarding the generational integration and renewal, we identified 17 women, young women, that we promised them that they will be trained to be new leaders. In this process, we have we had 2 workshops and 2 days and 4 topics that we covered. For the change management, we had a workshop to create a project of life, communication skills, and organizational skills. Regarding personal and partnership skills, we work kits, toolkits and profiles for the teams. leadership workshops, working in team. All these actions created a very important amount of skills within this group. Regarding actions to strengthen these values, the ones that we develop, we strengthen the management process of AMUC, strategic planning, and business plan. This is very important because this can help them to project the future within the business market. This shows how the original exercise showcased that the sales decreased at the beginning of the intervention, but after the intervention, the turnover volume increased. These are the results. This intervention has been very productive. Regarding the revolving fund, AMUC has today a microcredit system that can assist the 100% of the partners, all the partners, with a base close, with the money base close to $1 billion of Colombian pesos. 86% of the partners use these credits and has a very good, has developed a culture of using this credit. They use it for buying fertilizers, infrastructure, machinery and equipment, and it is also used as a pre-financing method for the harvesting and for the whole process. Everything is linked in order to improve the business circle where they intervene, where they engage today in a very effective way. This is the business circle where they perform Expo Cafe, groundwork, the National Federation of Coffee Growers in Colombia. Different institutions have engaged, have been involved in this process. This is a very short, brief summary of the outcomes achieved with the AMUC, with this project within AMUC. I don't know if you have any questions.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Javier, for this comprehensive and informative presentation. You have showcased how improved skills contribute to higher yields, quality, and farm productivity using AMUC. And we thank you so much for that. All participants, if you have questions, please use the Q&A functionality. Write your questions or raise your hands using the functionality at the bottom of your screen if you have any questions. Thank you all for that. I think the keynote address from Dr. Kasai Tolosa and the presentation from Javier have made the stage. They have made very nice stage for us to go to our next session, which is a panel discussion on empowering women in coffee value. So I'll take you to Sarah, who will be moderating the next session. It will be a panel discussion on empowering women in coffee value chain. Our panelists are Bamlak Meles, she's a project manager from Ethiopian Women in Coffee, Carla Maria from ICAFE of Honduras, and Ato Andualam from the Ethiopian Coffee Tea Authority. We will invite all the panelists to join. Please accept when you invite you to be a part. Okay, thank you so much. Now I'll give the floor to Sarah. Yirga will be moderating the session for us. Over to you, Sarah.
Okay, thank you, Alamu. Sorry if there is any echo. I have to leave a workshop and I'm on a corridor, so you'll hear church music, prayer and some echo from the corridor. Thank you. Welcome everyone. This is an interesting session, and thank you, Dr. Kasai, for a very insightful keynote. That was amazing, and thank you for being a champion to women in coffee in the value chain. Javier, you did an amazing job presenting the work EthioLatinCoffee and the AMUC are doing, and we have a lot to learn from you guys, and we're catching up. We're trying to catch up from Ethiopia side.
Hello.
Yeah. My panelists today are one of my colleagues from the Ethiopian Women in Coffee, the project coordinator, a very young and dynamic girl. I'm happy to present her here, Bamla. Arla, my good friend from Honduras, Cafe, who is also an amazing host and a wonderful woman in the coffee sector in Honduras, and with big impacts in the young generation. And my coffee and tea colleague, I don't see him here at Wandalam, but hopefully he will join us very soon on the work they're doing and designing a strategy towards addressing gender mainstreaming in the coffee sector. So welcome. I would love to give Carla, because we are in Ethiopia and we're hosting this event, although it is Austria, Alemu hosting it. But yeah, we think we should give priority to the guests, and Carla will give you the floor to just share your experience in the empowerment of women in the coffee value chain. You have, you take the mic, Carla.
Thank you, Sarah. And good morning to all of you, or good afternoon to all of you, and good morning to Buenos días, Javier, y nuestros amigos colombianos. I think that what we have seen in the last presentation of Javier give us a path to follow to try to find some answers to the challenges and opportunities for women in coffee. And I think that one of the strategies that we can follow is exactly what we have just seen in this presentation. Coffee is a product, and normally we have seen this product as a raw product, not as a finished product, and something that we as producing countries can offer to the consumer. So how can we access the markets? How can we be driving the prices, for example, instead of being just a commodity, but giving something else to the coffee, that extra value. And one of the things is that we need to see the coffee as a business. What Javier just showcased is exactly that. The education, the tools to make not only good decisions, but strategic decisions about what the coffee should be, the coffee business should be. So hearing Dr. Kasai about some of the challenges that Ethiopian women have, we could easily exchange the name of the country that she was addressing and use one of the names of the rest of the producing countries. And I think that we will find exactly, those same challenges. Access to land, access to the next step of the value chain, seen as managers, and not only pickers of that hard physical work that we are used to see it. So I will leave that as a challenge. How can we here in our own countries find the necessary tools and the space to work in small groups of women. I think that what we saw last meeting with AMPROCAL also show us what organized women and empower women can do about their own future, their own present. What can they do to drive the business of coffee to be a successful one, and getting away from that normal or the usual business that we are used to do it. So I think that working in the gender policy are okay, but we need to go from that theoretical frame to exactly, a business oriented product. So I will say that to look for that opportunities in our own countries, to identify what I just saw from Javier, highlighted some of the things, that we as Amu Cafe were struggling as well. We are kind of the same number of women working in the coffee business in Amu Cafe, and some of the things that he highlighted in Amuk, I think that can be easily translated to Amu Cafe in terms of what the organization should be and how this organization can work as a business, a profitable business, let's say. So Sarah, that's my point of view regarding empowering women, having their own decision about their own farm and their own business.
Wow, thank you, Carla. Now you're just to summarize what you just shared, it's about using the tools and the theory we have been digging so far, activities. So that's really insightful, and thank you for sharing that, Carla. I hope people will have some questions at the end. I will invite Amlak from Women in Coffee Ethiopia to just focus on the effortless implementation and practical experiences that are going to drive the future of women in coffee value chain empowerment. How do we do that? Like, what can you share with us as someone who's been working with the Ethiopian Women in Coffee, and what is missing? Where can we focus? At the same time, what's missing? What is it that we need to implement those things that are just mentioned by Carla? Where is the gap? I hope you give us an insight into that. Thank you, Bamlak.
Thank you, Sarah. Continuing on from what has been said, from our experience implementing projects at the farm level and communicating with women farmers, one of the things that we had an opportunity to see was that there were not enough platforms that were provided for women to engage and to get information, to get trainings, and to find a way to implement that onto the ground, and for that to become something that drives their business and that drives the sales of their coffee. And so one thing is in terms of inclusion and also designing trainings or any other services in a way that they are intentionally inclusive of women, and in a way that they can share information and share opportunities that cannot somehow be easily found by women at the grassroots level, at the farm level. And I feel like that's one thing that we've been able to see. And another is to make sure that there are actual investments and actual resources that are put in to push this initiatives forward, because they require resources to include women, to make sure that the time is correct, to make sure that the environment is safe, to make sure that they can have easy access to these kind of things. And I think to also add on, something that we're trying to do with Women in Coffee here in Ethiopia is to create this platforms and opportunities for women to develop themselves and to act as leaders, and to also inspire other women within the coffee industry to push on forward and use opportunities. Another is the implementation of projects and the implementation of policies to make sure that, yes, there are policies that support women within the coffee industry, but are they being implemented? And so these are some of the things that we get a chance to see on the ground while implementing projects. And I feel like given the correct consideration and attention, these things can support women to go beyond just women that are working in farms, but also to be included throughout the value chain. Thank you, Sarah.
Thank you, Bamlak. Thank you so much. I can say a few words on what just Bamlak presented. The Ethiopian Women in Coffee, our pillar of existence is capacity building. The major activity we do is coffee skills education. It starts from farm to export and to the barista level. However, the challenge in the past few years was just taking this capacity to the producing side of the value chain, which is now enabled by partnerships from the Zira and GIZ and other partners. So we don't take that lightly because this is where we learn the opportunity to learn where the gaps are, how we can address them, but also where the policy gap is at the same time. Because challenges may be financial or access to information, but where is the policy gap? So this is going to lead us to the next presentation where our Coffee and Tea Authority colleague, Andualem, will be sharing with us what is your role in the empowerment of women as a decision-making authority in the coffee sector in Ethiopia and what have been done so far, just a highlight of what has been done so far and what remains to be done from practical points of view. Andualem, the stage is yours. Yeah.
Yes, yes.
Okay, you may continue, Andu. Thank you.
Okay, hello everybody. I'm Andualem from Ethiopian Coffee and Tea Authority. On opportunity challenge and intervention of women in the coffee industry. That the previous presenter was present widely about the opportunity and the challenge of women in the coffee industry. I have something
Thank you, Andu.
on intervention of the women and that the stakeholders are focused on the women's in the coffee industry. There are so many opportunities in the coffee industry of Ethiopia, and also challenges are the intervention was the empowering of female farmers are very important because encouraging national and international stakeholders to provide finance support through the value chain of the woman to increase the product and productivity and to encourage the national and international stakeholders to provide finance support through the value chain of women and women organization. This is the first intervention. And the second is to facilitate professional opportunity and decision-making of the basic rights of women. And the other interventions are to increase the presentation and agency to pay the women utility and some footing gas the woman. The other one is to facilitate the market information to and realize the service to increase the facilitate short-term loan of coffee season and the long-term loan of the investment. And to facilitate provision of technology to reduce the workload of the woman. And also to support women in the coffee roasting and value addition to raising the distribution and funding of changing the face of coffee roasters. There are many challenges to face the coffee roasters, women coffee roasters. So giving short and long-term loan and to build the capacity of the women's roasters to reduce the challenge and workload of women's roaster. And also to giving the chance and educate women, not only the technical side, but also to make decisions their own activities. And also ensuring the women's rights are fully implemented by having the strong institutional structure. So to giving these challenges and to solve to giving this intervention to reduce the challenge of women's farmers and women's roasters. Hello, do you hear me? Is my idea?
Yes, Andu, we're listening to you. Thank you so much. Because of time restrictions, we're going to have to move on to the next session. But I will open the platform for anyone who may have some question in regards to what Andu, Bamlak, and Carla presented.
Okay, Sarah, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sarah. Because of time constraints, we need to move to the next session. After the next session presentation, we'll have also another session on gender responsive policy and interventions. Very short session. But now I'll give the floor to Bamlak, project manager at Ethiopian Women in Coffee, to give her presentation. Over to you, Bamlak.
Okay. As you know, I'm Bamlak Melissa from Women in Coffee, project coordinator. We'll be discussing a few topics, major topics today in regards to showcasing successful women-led businesses and also how inclusion can create economic empowerment for women and what that looks like. So looking at the work that Women in Coffee is doing and our membership base, we have more than 48 exporters that are working successfully within the coffee business. And we have around 3 at least exporters that are ranking in the top 20 exporters within the Ethiopian coffee industry that are exporting to different parts of the world. And amongst that are some of the names mentioned here, Fahim, Primrose, and Arfasa. And we also have other 48 women export members that are doing well within the coffee industry, although not exporting in great amounts. But to highlight how this looks like within the economic sense, the top 20 exporters in Ethiopia export for that amounts about to 40% of the entire exports that is made within Ethiopia. So it's very big volumes. And amongst that, we have 3 women-led and women-supported coffee companies that are exporting great numbers. Other than that, we are also seeing that there's a lot of potential within the cooperatives, ones that we were working with, but also others that have a large number of women memberships within their cooperatives. And so one of the things that we've been able to see through different projects that we have been able to implement within Ilibabur is that within the non-Losale women's-led cooperative, we've been able to give business skills and financial skills training, which directly impacts how well these women are able to lead their coffee businesses and how well they can compete within the coffee industry, which is very competitive here in Ethiopia and also globally. And so these kinds of initiatives are also supporting up and coming cooperatives and then also women-led organizations to be leaders within the coffee export industry, well-informed and also well-educated in terms of how they should lead their business and how well to utilize their skills and their resources to take advantage of the coffee trend and coffee industry. And also it's very important to understand what roles women are playing within this industry, to understand how well we're able to help them and what kind of gaps that exist to support them to become better competitors within industry and become successful within the coffee business. That is also something we're working on with the Zero project, which we will be able to see the fruit of within upcoming convention. And so these are some highlights. When it comes to locally, there are a lot of women-owned and also women-led coffee industry businesses that are creating waves within the market, and also those that have been within the coffee industry for a lot of years, such as Aster Bunna and others that are up and coming and new, such as Capio, Gastro, and also Yakofi, and so on. We have a large base of membership that is coffee exporters, but also we have coffee roasters that are successfully leading their business. And also to mention and to highlight, there are countless women within the streets of Addis and other capitals within Ethiopia that are selling coffee within the streets. And also we're having research on this. And so it's not just in terms of export and roasting, but also in the service industry, we can see a lot of success in how women are utilizing the small resources that they have, and also fighting the barriers that exist to become successful entrepreneurs within the space. We have a total of 75 plus membership. That is not including our cooperative members that have become members. And also 60% of that are exporters, 16% of that are coffee producers, another 16 coffee roasters, coffee shop owners, and we also have trade agents that are within our membership. And when we ask the question of what kind of economic impact are our members bringing into the coffee industry nationally and also in a global sense, within their different places within the coffee value chain, each of these members and also other women that are part of this industry are contributing in terms of exports, in terms of production, processing, roasting as coffee shop owners, and also as women entrepreneurs, small and medium entrepreneurs that are working in the service industry in the streets of Addis, and also as trade agents that are connecting markets to smallhold farmers and exporters that are here within the Ethiopian coffee industry. When we come to understanding the economic involvement of women in coffee, as mentioned before with some of the presenters, they're not exactly within the value chain where they're able to make deals and able to make decisions in a way that they can be empowered economically, but we're working towards that. And this is where policies and different programs should be put in place to support women to be able to be the ones that are making the decisions and also benefiting from the economic aspect of their labor within the coffee force. This could include digital payments, and also working on trainings and also land ownership rights to better support women that are working in the coffee industry. These are some of the experiences that we had from Women in Coffee. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Bamlak, for your presentation. It was insightful. You have discussed successful women-led businesses, contributions to the local and global coffee market, and of course, the economic impact of women's participation in the coffee commercialization. Thank you so much for that. If you have any questions, as I've said earlier, please put them under the Q&A area of this platform, the Zoom platform, and later during the question and answer session, respond to them. Thank you so much for that. Now I'll take you to the next panel, which will be on policies and interventions. Very short panel discussion because we are running out of time. We have about 23 minutes. We'll use like 15 minutes for this panel discussion, and the rest we'll leave it for comments and of course closing remarks and any question and answer. So I'll give the floor to Sarah to lead the panel discussion that will be on gender responsive policy interventions. I will call upon panelists Bamlak Melese, Project Manager, Ethiopia Women in Coffee, Carla, from eCafe of Honduras, and I think Ayaleo Ashanif. Are you around, or is Andolem going to cover for you? I don't know whether, can you tell us, Ayaleo, are you around?
Yes.
Yes, excellent.
Yes.
So we have this. Okay, so Ayal, you have some presentations to make?
Yeah.
Okay, can you do that, please?
Okay.
While Sarah joins.
Thank you, all of you. Okay. Okay. My point of discussion is about the existing policy and gender mainstreaming effort in the sector, exploring policy gaps, recommendation for more gender responsive intervention, and the role of government agency and private sector support women empowerment. Concerning the gender laws policy and institutional analysis, international and national agreement policy and laws that are based on gender have been issued and implemented to narrow the gap between women and men. In Convention on the Elimination of All Forms of Discrimination against Women, which was approved by the United Nations in 1979, was adopted by Ethiopia in 1982, is one of them. For instance, Article 70 of the agreement indicates that women will be equal participants and benefit in any government or private organization when policies, laws, and guidelines are issued or implemented. It's also stipulated that women and men in various fields of education, health, income creation, jobs, family planning service, in any activities in rural or urban areas have equal right to decide, use, generate wealth, and have an equal share for work in the family. Article 18 of the African Charter on Human Rights and People's Rights, which was signed by the member states, stipulates that government must eliminate violation of rights against women and children and citizen and respect. The Beijing Platform for Action Agreement, which was reached in 1995, states that all institutions devise a system to implement gender issues in all sectors. About Sustainable Development Goals said to be achieved until 2030, Goal 5 is also ensure gender equality. The Ethiopian 1987 Constitution, the article states from 35 to 41 mostly deal with human rights, especially Article 35(3) strongly urges women to benefit from special support measures to compensate for the discrimination or scars they have endured through historical events. The Women Affairs Policy issued in 1986 states that empower women to participate and benefit in the economic, political, and social sector and to fill and correct the gaps in the system, eliminating harmful traditional practice in the country. The Growth and Transformation Plan, which has been implemented in the Ethiopian past year, has placed paying great attention on gender issue, the main direction of poverty reduction in the country. Moreover, federal and state family law not only determines the age of marriage, but also states that marriage is based on consent and that wealth acquired during the marriage is equally shared and properly for both men and women, and the decision should be made jointly. The Criminal Code stipulates that all attacks on harmful customs should be considered crime and action should be taken against them. The proclamation number 1064/2017 of government employees, which was revised in 2017, mandates that special support to be given to women during recruitment, promotion, and reassignment. Okay. Apart from the existing policy and legal framework, significant results have been recorded in terms of women participation and benefit in all development efforts. In the economic sector, women have been able to actively participate in rural agricultural extension program and cooperatives. According to the Rural Land Management and Youth Ticker, joint land ownership certificates are given to husband and wife, and this book granting women's ownership of land, and it has been possible to strengthen women's ability to be here in disputes about land ownership. Households headed by women are given land ownership, along with a certificate in their name. I think all these national and international laws are support women to engage in this sector. Coffee, tea, and spice sector analysis. Following the proclamation number 364/2060, pays the council ministers, the ECTA has built similar leadership ladders at all levels in the coffee, tea, and spice producing areas and starts implementing activities. At federal level, especially 330 people, from which 36.4 are women, under different professional fields have been started the work. Although women participate and benefit is not clearly specified in the exchange service and the coffee package document, which plays an important role in the coffee, tea, and spice development activities, the benefit and the participation of women is evident. In other activities, including preparation of seedling, crops, care, harvest, preparation, and stocking of crop products. However, data collected at different contexts, assessments at different time reveal that women, it comes to revenue, when women are paid lower than men. This is obtained by our survey. A legal ground that contains habit.
We have limited time, so please hurry.
Okay. Concerning the legal ground that contains different market options to properly qualify coffee that's compensative to the global market has been prepared and has started work. Coffee market and quality control proclamation directive numbers. According to the specific work is being done to ensure that from gender perspective there is no discrimination, that towards equal participation benefit from the first market center to in export market activities. Let's go into some of the challenges. We understood as a sector, extension service has its own challenge, supply input and technology regarding women has challenge, credit provision is a problem, capacity building, there is also a problem, creating an enabling environment for gender in the sector is also a problem. There is no an organized structure from the regional to federal level, and there is a budget problem to implement these activities. The planning is not gender responsive, and the absence of child daycare center, gender inclusion department establishment as a support provider is also a problem in concerning enabling environment. Working in a partnership has its own problem, and gender support monitoring system has also its own problem that we need to address. Legal frameworks needs to be an incentive to encourage women. There must be an affirmative action to improve women's participation and benefit. The marketing also need also an incentive or affirmative action for women's decision-making power, as you know and discussed earlier. It has its own problem regarding women because they are not honored in resources. They have a problem in decision-making. Land ownership also has less ownership of women in land. There is no incentive totally for women to invest in the sector. The gaps we identified to be that we need to address is this is an operational report because we are working at operational level. Laws, proclamation, and directives in the sector do not include incentive for women. Laws implementation of policy, laws and proclamation around gender inclusion, limited opportunity to implement gender inclusion in institutional operation and leadership, their participation is low. Low understanding, knowledge, and skill around gender equality. Women's low decision-making power on land and other productive sources. Trade service is not accessible for women. The research system is not gender responsive. The extension service is not similarly is not gender responsive. Lack of an organized gender responsive system that provides input and technology. Lack of collaboration among partners within the sector to work on gender inclusion. The support and monitoring system is not gender responsive as all. some of the gaps that we need to address. Recommendations, laws, proclamations, and directives in the sector should include incentive. There is a need to affirmative action compared to men to improve their participation. Improve the implementation of policies. There is an implementation gap. Therefore, there is a need to improve implementation policies, laws, and proclamations regarding gender inclusion. Improve the opportunity to implement gender inclusion, institutional operation and leadership. There is a need to improvement. Improve understanding, knowledge, and skill around gender equality. Strengthen women's decision-making power on land and other productive resources. Research should be accessible for women. The research system should be gender responsive. The extension should be gender responsive. Extension, establish and organize gender responsive systems that provides input and technology. Strengthens collaboration among partners within the sector to work in gender inclusion. The support and monitoring system should be gender responsive. It is the current support and monitoring system is blind. That is not gender responsive. The role of the government agencies and NGOs. Concerning the government role, as I mentioned earlier, there is a need to make laws, proclamations, and directives in the sector should be include incentive to improve one's participation. The implementation of policy, laws, and proclamations should be gender inclusive. As I mentioned earlier, all these things need to be gender responsive and strengthen women's decision-making power on land and other productive resources. Make the credit service accessible for women. Make the research should be gender responsive. Make the extension should be gender responsive. And concerning the role of NGOs and private sectors, support the effort of the government by providing financial support and capacity building like training and experience sharing support to strengthen the participation of women or to strengthen the empowerment of women in the sector. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ayalu. Thanks so much. You have covered a lot of points about the existing policies and gender mainstreaming efforts in the coffee sector, and you have tried to explore the policy gaps and also have given us some recommendations from various actors who are involved in this coffee sector. Thank you so much for the presentation. We are running out of time. I will give only 2 questions to Bamlak, one question for Bamlak and another for Carla. Bamlak, can you tell, I mean, apart from what has been said so far by Ayalu, as a project manager at Ethiopian Women Coffee, can you give us some of the policy gaps and recommendations for a more gender responsive intervention?
Yes.
Thank you, please.
Well, in our case, with the gender policy, and there is some advances that have been made in the process of. Sorry.
This is Carla.
Yes.
Okay, the question was for Bamlak, but you can continue.
No,
for
I'll
you,
give
I
the
have.
Space to Bamlak.
Yes, I have another question for you. I was my question was discussing the role of government agencies, specifically what has been done in Honduras and NGOs and private sector in supporting women's empowerment. That will respond to that one. But first, let's hear from Bamlak about any policy gaps or recommendations that Ethiopian Women Coffee have for a gender responsive. Bamlak, please.
I'll try to highlight one for the time being, and that would be the implementation of land ownership for both the male and female counterparts when they're married. It is put in practice. However, not a lot of people in rural areas know about it, or even if they know about it, they find it very hard to implement. And not just in terms of government, but also within other exporters. Outgrowers are usually signed by the name of the male farmer instead of both. And so that relates to trainings when women are not called to trainings because the land is registered in the man's name. And so policies like this that are put in place, however, not being implemented, or they're not aware of it and not, or don't know how to ask for their rights. And so I think this is one of the things that we've also been able to see in terms of trainings that are given by extension and service providers, per se, not exactly by CTA, but also by other exporters. Yeah, I think this is one of it.
Thank you, Pamela. For that, I will go now to Carla. Carla, specifically, can you tell us about the role of government agencies and NGOs and private sector in supporting women's empowerment, specifically from your experience in Honduras?
Yes, in our case, Alemo, due to the work of CONACAFE, where Omar works, that was the first step to have this gender policy to be discussed with the key actors at national level. There were some meetings regarding what women thought about their current condition, and as well as a validation workshop. Then it was presented to the board of directors of CONACAFE, which is they are people from the coffee sector as well. And then it was approved and published in La Gaceta, which is a national and official newspaper where all laws are published. So I think that that was a key, that process was key, and it was led by CONACAFE, which is a mixture of government and private sector people. But mainly, I think that the work is being made by the own producers here in ICAFE. We have a liaison with Solidaridad, which is an NGO, and we are working with them to do also workshops to validate what we have done so far and what else needs to be addressed. And I think, as I mentioned before, that some of the challenges are equal in all countries, even though I think that women are more aware of the necessity of being the owners of the land. There is still a lot of work to do in that case. Also, and I think one of those are also necessary is how they can get resources, financial resources, to improve the land and the farm. And I think that that is one of the main holdbacks for the women to have, as I mentioned before, see the farm as a business, as a profitable business. Without the proper finance, I think there will be more challenges to come.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Carla. And thank you so much, Bamlak, and thank you so much, Ayalu, for your inputs in creating enabling policies and initiatives for women coffee. I thank you so much for that. Now I will open the session for question and answer. If there is any question and answer, somebody raised a hand. Miki, can you tell me who raised a hand? I can't see it here.
No one still.
There is no one, huh? Okay, any questions, any comments from the participants or the panelists? You're welcome. Carla, please, Carla, go ahead.
Yeah, just a short note to Javier, and if you allow me, I'll do it in Spanish. I think it will be easier. And then I'll translate it to English very quickly. It's just related to what we have just saw that he present of Amucafe. Javier, gracias por la presentación que has hecho de
Thank you, Javier, for your presentation
Creo que es un faro, una guía
on the
para el trabajo
AMUC
de muchas
work. I think
mujeres
it's
en
a beacon
Latinoamérica.
for
Es
Latin
un
American women.
ejemplo realmente a seguir
It's
de
a
cómo la
model role
caficultura
to
debería
be
verse
followed
como eso, una empresa
as the coffee culture could be seen as a business, social, responsive, and successful business. I think this is where we need to work with women associations so that they can consider their products as a business product. There's a lot of teaching and training to be done, especially on the training sector. Thank you for your presentation that has opened the eyes of all of us, and I congratulate the EthioLatinCoffee team for their work.
Thank you, Carla. Any other comment, question?
Hello, Mr. President. Hello.
Hello, yes. Who is this?
Androlem.
Androlem, please go ahead. You have a question?
Yeah.
Please do.
Okay. እንግዲህ ይሄ የመጀመሪያ የዙም ሚቲንግ ነው። የሚፈለገውን ያህል ኢንፎርሜሽን ሰጥቼ እንደሆነ አላወቅኩም።
ኦኬ።
እንግዲህ ለሚቀጥለው በደንብ ተዘጋጅተን የሚፈለገውን ኢንፎርሜሽን መስጠት ready. Sorry for today.
No problem. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Something else?
Yes, I've heard you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you for your presentation and for your commitment to be a part of this EthioLatinCoffee community of practice, and for your commitment to present even better in the upcoming webinars. Thank you so much for that.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other comments? Okay, if there are no comments, I will ask, please share your presentations, especially Dr. Kasaye and Bamlak, because we have to share this along with the proceedings of this webinar, which will be coming up shortly. Rest assured that this webinar will be it's already recorded. It will be edited and to be shared on various platforms so that we can contribute to the knowledge base of the coffee value chain, challenges of the coffee chain, and opportunities of the coffee value chain in Ethiopia and, of course, in Latin America, especially in Colombia and Honduras. And this will be some knowledge that can contribute to the coffee value chain, and it will be shared widely. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us today. We have a closing remark from Dr. Ubalem Tadesse. He's a senior researcher at the Ethiopian Forestry Development. Dr. Ubalem, can you give us a closing remark for us, please?
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Colleagues, as Alemu said, I'm Ubalem Tadesse. I'm working at Ethiopian Forestry Development as lead researcher. Today we had the sixth community of practice titled The Role of Women in Coffee Management and Commercialization. We had diversified presentation. I think, as far as I know, the first time several presentations from 3 countries, Ethiopia, Colombia, and Honduras, presented their experiences, number of presentations, grouped in four teams: enhancing women's skill and knowledge, women in coffee commercialization, women in and coffee commercialization, gender responsive policies, and etc. So there were excellent presentations by different presenters. We have seen excellent presentation. I thank all presenters for the efforts to present their experiences, and the special thanks is for Austria, mainly Dr. Alemu. Once again, we had a very good experience of this 6th community of practice, and all participants. Thank you. Muchas gracias. And see you in the 7th community of practice next month. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ubalem. I just have one note here. Please, Sarah just WhatsApp me. She sent me a message on WhatsApp and she had apologized for not being with us. She left because she had some partners from Germany that she's working on a similar coffee value chain project. She has apologized for that. Thank you all. Thank you so much, and we'll see you next on the next webinar, which will be next month. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you all.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.